The story of Prophet Moses in the Bible. Now when Pharaoh saw that the people had increased and become strong, he feared that they might become so numerous that they would attack and kill him and overthrow his kingdom. So he summoned his officials and devised a plan to get rid of them. He told them to throw every male baby that was born into the river and to let the females live. This was done in order to reduce the population of the Israelites and prevent them from becoming a threat to the Egyptians. But the parents of Moses didn't obey Pharaoh's command to kill their newborn baby boy. Instead, they hid him for 3 months. When they could no longer hide him, they made a basket out of papyrus reeds and waterproofed it with pitch. Then they placed the baby Moses inside and put him by the riverbank. The child's older sister, Miriam, went to see what happened to him and noticed that Pharaoh's daughter came to bathe in that river. So Miriam went up to her and asked if she wanted to see something amazing. "Look over there," she said, pointing to the basket. "There's a very cute baby." Pharaoh's daughter went over, opened the basket, and saw the beautiful baby Moses. She immediately took him out, dried him, and realized that he was circumcised. Now this was a Jewish custom, not an Egyptian one. She asked Miriam, "Where did you find this baby?" Miriam replied, "Over there by the riverbank. A lady left him there in the reeds." Pharaoh's daughter decided to adopt Moses and raise him as her own son. So she took him back to the palace. She named him Moses because she had pulled him out of the water. And the child grew up in Pharaoh's palace alongside his real mother and sister, who had been bought as slaves. But since Moses was the adopted son of Pharaoh's daughter, he had access to all the privileges of the royal court. He was educated in all the wisdom of the Egyptians and became very powerful. However, when Moses was 40 years old, he encountered a strange event. One day he was tending his flock near Mount Horeb, also called Sinai, when he saw a bush that was on fire but was not being consumed. So he went to investigate and heard God speak to him from the bush. God told Moses that he had seen the suffering of his people in Egypt and had come to rescue them from Pharaoh and lead them into the land of Canaan. God commissioned Moses to go back to Egypt and tell Pharaoh to let the Israelites go so they could worship God. But Pharaoh refused, so God punished him and the Egyptians with 10 plagues, such as turning their water into blood, causing deadly poisonous snakes to come up out of the ground, and even killing their firstborn sons. Finally, after the last plague, Pharaoh allowed the Israelites to leave. Then God led them out of Egypt into the wilderness on their way to the promised land. During their journey, they followed the pillar of cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night. The pillar of cloud acted like a barrier, keeping the Israelites separate from the Egyptians. But after 40 years in the wilderness, God told Moses that he would not enter the promised land because he had not trusted in God and had not believed in God's plan to deliver the Israelites. Instead, God appointed Joshua as the new leader of Israel, promising that he would enter the promised land and conquer it. So the Israelites continued their journey under Joshua's leadership. They crossed the Jordan River and defeated many enemies until they possessed the land from the river of Egypt to the Great Sea and from the desert to the Lebanon mountains. It was a vast and fertile territory where they lived as a nation under the law of God. In short, Moses was a great prophet and leader who delivered the Israelites from slavery in Egypt and led them to the promised land. However, due to his disobedience, he wasn't allowed to enter the promised land. Nevertheless, his legacy lived on through the nation of Israel, who continued to follow God and obey his laws. Hey, guys, thanks for watching. If you liked this video, make sure to share it with your friends. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more videos just like this one. Thanks for watching. See you next time.